friends, welcome back to another video and a special hello if you are new. My name is Casey and today I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I read in August. I read 4 books in August. I read 3 physical books and 1 ebook. The first physical book that I read was a reread, and it was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper. We all know the story of To Kill a Mockingbird. It tells the story of a young girl named Scout. This is set in the 1920s, I believe, 1930s. But Scout's father, Atticus Finch, is a very respected lawyer in her small southern town. When Atticus is appointed by, I don't know, the mayor or whoever's in charge of making those decisions, to defend a black man who has been wrongly accused of assaulting a white woman. This book is just really poignant, really beautiful. It's a wonderful coming of age story, and it is really thought-provoking. I have reread this book. This is probably my 4th or 5th time. I like to reread it every couple of summers, and I don't know what it was this time, but I had a lot of time or a lot of trouble like working through it. It made me really sad, and because it is a sad story. But I think, you know, in the past, I have been drawn to the more hopeful side of it, whereas this year, or this reread, I felt like sad. And I think just with kind of current political climate, the way that things kind of seem nowadays, it just really seems like the Bob Ewells in the world have a really strong platform to spew their hatred. And I think that's kind of like what got me, and how, you know, these changes and this hopefulness doesn't seem as strong. I don't know, but I had a really hard time reading through it this time, and I think that's why I love to reread books, and I've talked about rereading books before, but you just never know like how they're going to impact you years later, even if it's a book that you've reread multiple times. I think the reading experience is so subjective to where we are in our lives, and you never know what your takeaways are going to be. But I did love it. It was, again, just a 5 out of 5 star read for me. And again, I will definitely come back to it again in a couple of years, and hopefully just fingers crossed, be in a more hopeful and welcoming world. Next, I read The Lying Life of Adults by Elena Ferrante. I love Elena Ferrante, and I love her writing, and I loved the writing in this book, but I didn't love the book. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. It tells the story of Giovanna, and she is like approaching into teenagehood, and basically she just isn't doing well in school. She's kind of becoming a little bit of a pain to her parents, and she hears her father remark that she's turning ugly. And what he specifically is saying there is that she's beginning to look a lot like his estranged sister. So Giovanna decides that she has to see this sister. She has to kind of reconcile this for what it is, and, you know, see if that's her fate. And so she does, and then it kind of spurs this like web of events, or this snowball of events, where Giovanna begins lying to the adults in her life. So not only her parents and their friends, but also her aunt and those situations, like those kind of people who she knows through her. And she's just more aware of adults and the way that they are. And I don't know really what it was about this that felt short. Especially the ending, like I thought it was really powerful, but I also just like, I don't know. I don't know. There was just something missing, and there was just something lacking, even though the writing style was beautiful, and I will still literally read anything Ferrante writes. I just think in comparison to some of her other books that I've read, it just ranks a little bit lower. And I will also say this was pretty crude at times, which wasn't like, I'm not, you know, it wasn't offensive or anything, but it was very crude, and it kind of didn't expect that as much when I was reading about like a preteen at times. But yeah, I do recommend it if you're interested in it. It's just not one that I'm like going to shout from the rooftops that everybody should read necessarily, I guess. Next physical book that I read was The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This was my first Ali Hazelwood, and I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read more of her. I think I gave this 3 stars just because it was good and it was fun and I recommend it, but it wasn't like, you know, the equivalent of To Kill a Mockingbird. But this tells the story of Olive. She is a PhD candidate, and she essentially wants to convince her friend that she has a boyfriend so her friend can date Olive's ex. You know, that she didn't really have, like, it was just some guy that she dated for a little bit. It wasn't someone that she actually liked. So she ends up just kind of grabbing someone and being like, hey, can I kiss you? And she ends up kissing Adam Carlson, who is a professor. And as a result, they begin this like fake dating situation to kind of help out her friend, and to also he has his own motivations for this. I love a fake dating trope, so this was just right up my alley. It was really fun. And again, it just like everything that I had heard about Ali Hazelwood, so all the expectations that I had going into this, like it delivered on those things. And it was just really fun. The banter was cute. She kind of threw you a little bit. There was another one of my favorite tropes, which I won't talk about because I don't want to like spoil it, but I was like so pumped for that to happen to them, and then it didn't happen. So she kind of kept me on my toes a little bit, even though I was a little disappointed. But yeah, I really like this one. I do recommend it if you're interested. It was just really fun, and I can't wait for the film. I've seen a lot of TikToks about the film, so I pictured the actors who are cast as Adam and Olive, which I think was kind of a nice convenient thing for me reading it much later down the road, whereas other people who've read and loved it for years, their image of the characters might not live up to it. But I'm very excited for the film, and I just can't wait to read more Ali Hazelwood. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know. Last I read, well actually I think it was probably the first book I read in the month, or maybe it was the second, but the ebook that I read was Mischief and Manors by Ashtyn Newbold. I've talked about Ashtyn Newbold before, and I love her. She is a Regency rom-com writer. This one tells the story of Annette, and she is an orphan along with her 2 younger brothers who made me think of my nephews, so they just had a special place in my heart. But they're quite mischievous. They're not like bad or mean or awful, they're just little boys. And she lives with her aunt, who is very cruel and is threatening to throw Annette and her brothers out and just leave them cast out into society without any type of financial means or home, or she is threatening to send the boys to an orphanage. So Annette decides to go spend the summer at the manor of her late parents' best friends, and while she's there, she runs into Owen, who is the son of her parents' friends, who she didn't really like him when she was younger. He was quite ornery, he was quite mischievous, like her brothers. So he decides that he is going to help Annette, you know, transform them into a proper gentleman while still like keeping their childhood spark. This book was just incredibly sweet, incredibly funny. I mean, like laugh out loud funny. I just think that she writes so well. It's very fitting with like the Regency times. Like obviously you don't feel like you're reading Jane Austen or Georgette Heyer, but you are like definitely like transported into that Regency time. In the way that the story was flung together, it kind of sounds, you know, like it would be quite predictable. Like, you know, Annette and Owen are going to end up together. It's a Regency romance. Like, you know, it's lighthearted. You're supposed to kind of know from the get-go, like, who the suitor is and how it's going to end. But the events in which they got together was really just well thought out. And it kept me on my toes because I wasn't expecting some of the things to happen the way that they did. And I just adore Ashtyn Newbold's writing. She has another book in this series called A Seaside Scandal, I think, coming out. It's supposed to come out in September, but it's been pushed back to October. And I'm so pumped. Like, I cannot wait to read that. All right, that sums up what I read in August, but I thought I would share with you some of the books that I'm hoping to kind of work through in September, as well as some of the books that I'm currently reading. On my Kindle, I'm reading A Tartan Love by Nichole Van. I love it so much. It's so good. I can't wait to finish it. And then I've been reading Gulliver's Travels. I think I'm like 25% in, according to Storygraph. I don't know how I feel about it. It's like very fantastical, and it's like I don't like dislike it, but I also just don't love it. So I don't know how I don't know yet. I have a lot of trouble like choosing to pick it up outside of the other books that I'm reading, so we'll see. I'm still working through the Alexander Hamilton biography. I am also like 25% of the way through it, which is quite an accomplishment of a book this size. I love this book. I am just enthralled. I am fascinated. Like, I've heard so many people say, if you've seen the musical, then like you just don't even know, like it can't even go into the half of it, and I just like cannot agree with that more. Hamilton just lived a fascinating life. He was so snarky with things. Like, I'm literally laughing out loud at some of his quotes and like the stories and things. And I've been tabbing parts that I find interesting, and like I'm literally tabbing like something every single page. I wish I would have like structured my tabs a little bit more like coherently, like things that I thought were funny, things that I thought were fascinating, things that relate to Hamilton, things that relate to like Eliza or, you know, other things. But I didn't. But I am loving this one, and it's very readable. Obviously, it's not a book that you're going to sit down and read in 2 or 3 days. Probably. I don't know. Maybe you can. I know that I couldn't, and most of the people in my life I know probably couldn't, but I really recommend it if you're interested in it. It's so good. And I have 2 other books that I would really like to get to in September that were on my summer TBR before I start really diving into my fall TBR, which I will share with you guys in a couple weeks. But the first is Hamnet. I can't wait. I've been wanting to read this book for so long, and now seeing I haven't watched the trailer yet because I don't want to until I've read the book, but seeing some of the stills and things from the movie, I'm so pumped to get into this one. I'm predicting that this is going to be a 5-star read, so fingers crossed I don't have too high of expectations. And then the last book on my summer TBR was The Old Ways by Robert Mcfarlane. This is, he's a nature writer, and this is about basically him following ancient routes through the British landscape and into other territories. I think that this will be really fascinating and really fun to work through. I've not, oops, sorry, let me move the tripod. I've not read a ton of like nature writing, so I am excited for this, and I love the songs that Robert Mcfarlane does with Johnny Flynn. All right, friends, thank you so much for being here and listening to me babble on about books. I will see you very soon in another video.